Residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
Yeah. We are getting ready to count it down. And of course, sorry for the little slip up there. My computer is still being a moron, and the little pointer thingy guy didn't want to do what I wanted it to do. So fuck you to ASUS. Anyway, welcome to what I am now calling Moronic Monday. We have survived it the best that we can, because it was definitely full of its ups and downs, if you will. But we're really excited about tonight's edition. We are giving you 10 of the greatest releases this year. So that means we are only focusing on the year 2023. And we worked hard at it. I think between the two of us, we have come up with 2 fabulous lists. And maybe some of these bands, you haven't heard their new release. And after you get to hear our synopsis, you just might want to check it out. But before we get into that, first, share this out to everyone that is home and probably depressed as we get closer to the unholy holiday. And share it out. Let's bring them in. Let's teach them something. Let's make them laugh. Let's hoist a fine drink together. And before we get into all that, let's take a quick commercial break to our brothers at Villain Arts. Check it out. You know what to do when they come to your city. Get your asses out there. Get a fine, very professional tattoo done by some of the best in the country, as well as probably locally to your area. Check out all the performers and all the awesome vendors, and you're going to be seeing a lot of me in 2024. Oh, all right. So let's get to it. The best metal releases of 2023. Let me tell you something. I don't know about Hoof Beast, but I'm sure he shares this with me. This was a massive amount of releases to go through and to pick out what we felt are the best. And mine kind of range anywhere from black metal to doom to thrash. I don't know. There were certain releases in each different subgenre that just kind of grabbed me. And that's why I went with it. All right. My number 1. And hopefully I say this correctly. Kyler, as always, we're glad to have you in here. Those of you out in the comments section, don't be shy. Give us your opinion. We love it. Talk to us. And maybe Hoof Beast will conjure up some more of his screen magic. I still want you to teach me how you do that.
I
All
have no
right.
idea.
I don't know either. So we decided to go from 10 and down to number 1. So I don't have any specific order because I did not rank them. Paul, what's up, buddy? Kyler says, magic. That's right. So I'm just going to kind of hop around a little bit if you don't mind. Coming in at number 10 for me is one of my all-time favorite, greatest death metal bands that I have always enjoyed. And I was really proud of them on this new record because I felt it was a stronger record. It wasn't how fast we could go. I mean, obviously, this band is well known for their complex riffing at lightning change speeds that if I was playing guitar, my hands would catch on fire. And brilliantly led by their bassist is, of course, Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse released Chaos Horrific, and it was by far chaos, but it is magical chaos. This record just reminds me of some of the greatest records that they've come out with throughout their 30 plus career. Kind of back to roots a little bit. The guitars have not sounded stronger, with their new lineup there. And the drummer as well, who in a couple of records back felt like he was going to die during the recording of that particular record, but sounds so comfortable, laid back, doing his Cannibal thing. And of course, I don't get it, but Corpse Grinder is a machine. Everything sounds good from production, from start to finish.
That's a great choice. That's one of my honorable mentions. I forgot to write that down to you, but that it's a really good album. I haven't been able to purchase it along with like 7 or 8 other albums that are really, really good. Everything on my list, all of my honorable mentions are something that I'm willing to spend my money to buy, and I will have them all.
We really should
start
album. Putting out like a tip jar on these shows. We'll make you laugh for tips.
One of the things that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago is that, like, a lot of my choices are not choices where you're going to listen to it and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I remember that riff, and you're going to be humming it later on. And Cannibal Corpse is one of those. Their riffing is so complex and so quick, and it changes so much that this is not something that you can go whistling down the road while you're walking somewhere. This stuff is complicated. It takes energy. You have to bring energy to the front to really give it a chance. Like a lot of this, like when I'm tattooing, yeah, I can listen to any of this stuff. But when I really want to listen to the music and really appreciate what everybody is doing collectively, it takes more energy for dissonant black metal, dissonant death metal, or like what Cannibal Corpse is doing. It's an excellent album. It could easily be, like, for me to see this on anybody's top 10, I have no argument at all. I'm like, yep, no problem with that. It's a really good album.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because out of every single record, there's always that one breakdown riff that they do for about 5 seconds that sticks in my head. And that's really the only part that I remember so much, because I was like, yeah, that was a smooth killer breakdown. But the rest of it, maybe a vocal here and there, but you're right. Definitely not something you can be skipping down the road to and humming. And if anybody out there in Morgrotland that can do that, more power to you, because I can't.
And another thing I would add is being a teacher for 23 years, I ran into a lot of snobs who were usually the music teachers. And so they were into jazz or they were into classical music. I like both of
Right.
them. I listen to both of them regularly, especially jazz if it has jazz guitar. I don't know how I made that thumb come up. I must have
Because you
had my
did
thumb
that.
up a little bit yet. Anyways, they will be such snobs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I would challenge them if they could give dissonant black metal, any dissonant metal, black metal or death metal, or where it's kind of black and death metal, or they
Yeah.
would give Cannibal Corpse a listen. This shit is complex and the way things change throughout it. This is not easy stuff to do. Yeah, I'm going to be plagued by this thumb up all the time. Um, and so, like, I'll always slam them for like, oh, they'll turn their nose up to anything metal, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what have you created lately? Have you written any musical score, any piece lately? And they can't say anything. And I'll say, basically, what you teach should be a science, because what you're trying to do is copy everybody else's fucking music. You're not trying to put your own twist or your own taste. You're trying to copy other people's music. I'm talking about my high school teachers, not the middle school where they're just
Right.
learning to get around their instruments and they need to do that. I'm talking about high school. When you could teach an honors music class, you could teach an AP, or damn, there it goes again, or you could teach I don't know if you're into international baccalaureate degrees, things like that. Like, you really have to be creative, and that's what. There's so many metal bands. We are so creative, and I am in awe of what's come out this year in metal. This is the biggest year to me in metal since 2011.
Oh,
And
yeah.
2011 had, like, that's one where I have so many amazing albums that came out this year as well. And there's a lot that I didn't put on because our list would have to be 20 that are
Right.
excellent 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5 star albums. So my number 10 is a band that I just got into a couple of days ago. And so they are fucking amazeballs. Yes, I'm sure they belong in the top 10. A lot of reviewers are putting this band at number 1. And this could be number 1. They just haven't listened to it enough. And I'm talking about a band named Horrendous, and their album is Ontological Mysterium. These guys are fucking nuts. It's like you're taking the best parts of Metallica in their day. That's Mithridatum.
Oops.
It's an
I'll get
orange one with like melting faces. And anyways, Horrendous is like taking, yep, that's it. Horrendous take like Metallica and really good thrash, and they're all over the place. At times it's very progressive. Like, they will slow down. They have clean singing. They have kind of black metal. It sounds like a female kind of thinner black metal voice. They have death metal, kind of blackened death metal vocals. They're all over the place. And this is a lot more catchy. It's very complicated. They're changing stuff up throughout. It is an amazing album. It probably would have been quite a bit higher. Although, like, to me, there's a lot of 4.5 or 5 out of 5 star albums that came out this year. This is an amazing album. It might be a 5 out of 5 star. It's outstanding. It's Horrendous, and it's Ontological Mysterium. That's my number 10.
Yes. And from what you had sent me, I forget when you did that. Might have been a few days ago as well. Definitely, I dig what I'm hearing. I didn't get to hear the whole thing, but from what I heard, I could very easily see myself getting into it. And it's completely packed full of everything Hoofbeast just told you.
It's really good, and it's really, really well done. Super creative. Like, these dudes are artists. When you're going to hear that a lot from me tonight. My gosh, amazing metal musicians.
Absolutely. And just for those of you that don't know what the Cannibal Corpse album looks like, that is it right there. Chaos, horrific. Wrong one. See, my computer is having fun with me tonight. Hence, Moronic Monday. My number 9. These guys are definitely no strangers to metal. They have been with us since the 80s. Powerful, powerful band. Excellent vocals. But they have shown on their latest offering this year that they have it like they did back then, if not better, in a lot of ways. And the album I'm talking about is Overkill, and the album is Scorched. Never have they slept on their album covers. That thing was a thing of beauty. Love it. But just real good, heavy chug-a-chug. The drums sound great, nice and clean. It doesn't matter how old these guys are. They still got it in every way. It reminds me of being that kid in the 80s when I first discovered them, on their first album. So definitely needed to be on my list.
Yeah, Overkill's a great band. I saw them on, I think, July 27th, and they were outstanding. Bobby Blitz, to be able to do the vocals, his vocals were fucking perfect. The band was really, really good. It was such a fun show, except for there was a big goon in the pit who was beating up on this like little 13 or 14-year-old boy who looked like he barely ever comes out of his room, and his dad was there with him. And every time this little boy ran out into the pit, this fucking monster followed him, pursued him, and hit him from behind several times. Finally, we got the bouncers on that fucker and got him the fuck out of the pit. And they almost kicked him out. They let him come back, but he was not allowed in the pit anymore.
Hell no.
But Overkill, to me, like, there aren't any bad albums. And this album is on a lot of other folks' end of the year lists. It's a really good album.
Absolutely.
I listened to a podcast interview. It was like an hour long with Bobby Blitz, and he is such a cool dude. 100% genuine and 100% all out metal. And he really cares about his vocals being spot on, and it showed when I saw him live.
Yeah, I mean, it just really seems like they haven't missed a step.
All right, before I do, go ahead. Sorry, before I do my number 9, I want to talk about some other reviewers that I've seen that you guys will see out there as well. And yes, this is just our opinions, but we're both of us are metal musicians. Both of us are really, really dedicated. I mean, we do the podcast all the time. We scour through music. I listen to music in such a critical way. It's not just, I like it. It's like,
no, it's everyday life. That's what that is.
Like, how creative is this? How clever is this? How innovative is this? Like, those are things I'm looking for. My gosh. Yes. Loudwire? They had they had the Rolling Stones on their list. It's such bullshit. They had fucking Metallica. I saw some people had Metallica as their number 1 best album of the year. It is so watered down and so removed from what the edge that metal normally has. A lot of the songs are catchy, but they're catchy.
It's a rock album.
I agree. It's very much rock. It is
just a flat ass out, watered down Long Island iced tea without the kick. That is exactly what that record is. And I was ashamed at how many lists that album up against some of the bands that we've mentioned and are going to mention. There is no reason in hell other than they just want, points. I think with the little, megalodon that is Metallica, to try to get cool points with them by putting it on there. It's like, good job. pat, chaps, let me pat you on the back. No, had no reason to be on those lists. If anything, it should be in the fucking toilet.
Yeah, that's not an album that I will be buying. And so, like, there are 2 out of the 10 in my top 10 are bands that really aren't doing anything new from what they've done in the past. They have just done fucking amazing with what they've done for years, and they're amazing albums. For Metallica, this isn't anywhere near Master of Puppets. It's like it's not anywhere near as good as Ride the Lightning and Justice for All, Kill 'Em All. It's not anywhere near that good, not even close. But a couple of that I've chosen are these could be their best. They're as good as their best or really, really close. And Metallica didn't even get that close. And like, is there anything innovative? Well, you can hardly hear Robert Trujillo's bass just like they do for all their albums. Here and there you can hear it.
He's the best part.
Like, Lars drumming, give me a fucking break. It's a huge yawn as it has been for more than 25 years.
Yeah, it's always the same rhythms.
Like, I just don't get how, like, maybe people just aren't listening to much music, because what we have in our list is these guys are fucking innovators. They're trying to say, hey, we're reaching towards 2030, and here's the future of metal.
Right.
That's what you're going to get with a lot of these, and they're really well done. You might not be able to whistle the melody from these riffs,
but
because they're fucking complicated. Yeah, I agree. They don't have
music
to either.
Takes you somewhere, and if it's taking you to the principal's office to get paddled with a wooden smacker, then it's no good. I'm sorry. It's got to take you to a place where you're just like, wow, this is an amazing place.
Right. Exactly.
Which makes it memorable.
Right. So my number 9, and I won't have a long rant again, because that's a rant I felt like I had to get out there.
No, absolutely.
Avenged Sevenfold is another one that kept coming up. There were so many. I was just like, what the fuck? How are you coming up with this shit? It's like you stay in a little safe pocket of metal, and you don't really look. You're not trying to expand your mind or your thinking. My number 9.
They're letting the radio dictate to them what they should be thinking is cool, which is why Metallica continues to thrive, because they are writing those catchy riffs that people are already used to going, oh yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Oh, it's safe. It's safe, and it's overproduced. So my number 9 is Hell Ripper, Warlocks, Grim, and Withered Hags.
What a great
album
cover.
Is fucking amazing. This is blackened thrash. This album is fucking stunning. It has so much energy. It just drives you through. Really complex riffing and movement throughout every fucking song. Hell Ripper, it's a one-man piece, and now he's got a band together, and so he's going on, and he has been touring some now. He's the nicest guy. I've reached out to him before, and at least 3 years ago he would chat with you, and now like he's heading up there to make it pretty big for a one-man project. He does everything. He produces everything. It sounds so good. Like, this dude is a fucking genius. It's Hell Ripper, not Withered Hag, Warlocks, Grim, and Withered Hags. It's blackened thrash out of Scotland. Dude is awesome. Go get it. Go listen to it. You won't regret it.
Guaranteed, I don't think he'll ever lose his humbleness. Most of those types of guys, it doesn't matter how far up the chain they go, they never lose that I appreciate you kind of attitude,
Yeah.
And that's also what makes them great.
And it's a conversation, one metalhead to another metalhead.
And that's really how it should always be, in my opinion, when you go see a show and you meet the band afterwards. I definitely can say a lot of the times that I've, met people after a show where that's really all we did was just talk about, oh yeah, did you hear that new record? What do you think of that? Or they would suggest something, or we suggest something to them, and it's always been cool. That's what makes the metal world, the real metal world, awesome. Which, of course, I'm going to say the underground, because that's where all the real metal is, in my opinion. This next one really doesn't need an introduction because, let's face it, they are the one of there's a few others, but this brother duo, when they get together, it is always fucking magic. And in this case, with their latest album, they re-recorded a lot of old Sepultura stuff. And it's better. It's the way you should have heard it. You've heard Hoofbeast mention this many, 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 many times throughout the shows, that, those original recordings were not the best, and critics have said that forever. And of course, I'm talking about the Cavalera brothers. There it is. Or I'm sorry, the Cavalera Conspiracy. But when they do a show, they do it as the Cavalera brothers. And it's nothing short of amazing. It's Morbid Visions. And if you are a fan of and I have to say this, iconic drumming of Igor and that signature vocal and guitar sound of Max. Yes, Cavalera. Hopefully I said that right, Oscar. Don't shoot me. I get it wrong sometimes. But yes, finally, after all this time, they are back together and better than ever. And both of them looking chunky as hell. I don't know what they've been doing, if they've been curling dead bodies or what, but damn, Igor looks like he's fucking weightlifting competitor. It's like, holy shit balls. But man, what a big sound. Shit tons of energy. And again, we were just talking about, cool ass metal people to talk to. These two guys are nice as fuck. If you are a fan of what they do, this album, it must be in your collection.
Yep, they totally re-recorded everything. They didn't reinterpret, they just re-recorded everything and made that album sounds fucking amazing. They're so good. That is another album, the both of them, because they released the EP and the full length at the same time. I will be purchasing.
What a great idea!
Both of those, and I just missed them on. I think they played Atlanta September 26th, and I didn't have the money to drive 3.5 hours and back. And of course, I'm gonna have to get a shirt and all that. So hopefully they'll tour this again. But Reaper, have you ever heard of a band go back and just re-record? Like, I want to re-record my first album, and I want to have real drums on it, and I want to have a good mix and a good master on it. Totally.
Absolutely.
I've never heard of a band go back and do it like
this. I've wanted to do that.
Like, this is a remarkable album. I don't know of a band who's gone back and said, you know what, that was a good album, but it sounds like shit. Like, I wish Carcass would go back and play all the songs exactly the way they were, but just have a better production on it. Like for Reek of Putrefaction and what's the one that came out right after? Symphonies of Sickness. I want them to go back and redo that, because those were shitty recordings, and the songs are amazing, but you really have to listen hard to hear everything, because everything's so fucking muddy.
Sadly, that's all they could, get their hands on at the time.
So my number 8 is a band that has been in black metal for over 30 years. They they kind of shat the bed a little bit with their last album, Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, this one is almost as good, if not as good as Panzer Division. Panzer Division is my favorite. They have like 5 that are just so aggressive and like such kind of like the A level standard of what black metal is. And they haven't attempted anything new with this album, in my opinion. Although one of the songs is a bit more chuggy and it slows down a bit, but this album just like they're saying, this is what fucking black metal is. This is what amazing black metal is. Fuck all of you 3,000 black metal bands that are out there that are just like regurgitating 1993, 1994, 1995 black metal. You don't sound unique. You don't sound like anything special. Here's how it's fucking done. And I'm talking about Marduk with Memento Mori. This album is fucking amazing. I can't wait to buy this thing. I love listening to it on Spotify for right now. The album cover is outstanding. And wait till you hear the vocals on this. Oh my unholy fucking God. It is so fucking good, so nasty and kind of
Brutal.
guttural, brutal. This album is so hard. This is the epitome of black metal, just like Watain, their album 2 years ago. The epitome of black metal. It's like they're just saying, here's how you fucking do it.
Could not agree more. Marduk has always been a favorite of mine, but this record they've definitely outdone themselves. Very, very much so. All right. So this next one, what are we on? 8
Number
or
7.
7?
7.
All right. This next one is actually one that we did a review on, if I remember correctly. So if you go back into the archives of Tracks of the Damned, you will get our full synopsis on this record. But all I can say is Dying Fetus never disappoints. Never, ever, ever, never disappoints. And this by far is, I don't know, in my opinion, and I remember that when we did that synopsis review, I couldn't stop talking about the front cover. It just tells you what you're in for. These 3 guys are just the trio of slaughter. And I'm not talking about that cheesy fucking metal band that was in the 90s. I'm talking about pure terror of the earth with this band. Every song on the record from top to bottom is just fantastic. And very few times can we say a band like this that has managed to continue their career more than 10 to 20 years. I mean, they're what, 30 years, I think.
We have 30 years
celebrating.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they just keep coming back stronger and stronger. Like, nope, you ain't going to bump me. Nope, you ain't going to bump me. They just keep fucking coming back stronger and stronger. So if you haven't heard this record yet out there in Morgrot land, you need to add this to your death metal chicaneries.
So damn good. It's my number 7 as well.
Nice.
And yet another band that you can walk up to and talk to them if they come out. And when I saw them in 2012, they came out, and he was just sitting down having a drink by himself for a while, and then people started coming up and talking to him. Nicest guys. And to me, like, they're all amazing. That fucking drummer, though, I could listen to him all day long.
Absolutely a machine.
And what we said before is when you listen to this album or any Dying Fetus album, you are getting brutal death metal and these guys are the kings of groove in extreme metal by far.
Which
excellent,
is something
excellent album.
We've said that you really don't get a lot in death metal. You don't get a lot of groove. You know, a lot of the times it's super technical, you know, and very explorative, you know, with different rhythms and things. But it's like they hit you with this an amazing intro, which is, in my opinion, just as technically savvy as anything Cannibal would do. And then all of a sudden, just lay into this groove. It's like you're locked in. It's like they knocked you out with chloroform. You're sitting strapped in your chair, and then all of a sudden that groove hits, and you're just like, yes. And you're just hooked the whole rest of the time. That whole record, groovalicious. And
Every song is fucking perfect. So
I think
good.
that's the theme of this year. This year has been chunky in the guitar sounds. You know, for a long time it was how fuzzy can we get? How fuzzy can we get? You know, nah. You know, that's one of the things I love about thrash, death metal, and some cases black metal too. Every once in a while, one of those bands will have a real chunky guitar sound, and then it just pulverizes you like you just broke every bone in your body. This is one of those records.
Yep. On to number 6, because we both had the same fucking one for number 7.
Oh man. So I gotta give, you know, Hoofbeast all the credit for this one, because if it wasn't for him, I would have never found these guys, I don't think. Although the more you know, I see Metal Injection and some of these other, you know, big metal reporters are talking about them now. And they're showing up on, actually, they showed up on a top Doom album list of the year. And I was really happy to see that, because after I heard this record, I was like, I get it. I understand now. This is why they are literally currently known as the kings of extreme doom music. That's just what the people are saying, and I can't disagree, because it is rifflicious, doomlicious, but at the same token, blacker than Black and Doom. So to call it extreme doom, I think is appropriate, because you are getting a lot of extreme metal within and around the doominess of this band. And the vocals, man, they give you chills. The drums are pulverizing.
Yeah, and the clean vocals that is on this album, like, it's hard to pull this off. They'll be in the Cave Monster, really low, really slow vocals, and then they switch to clean, and the clean vocals are haunting, as if there are ghosts, you know, 100 meters below the surface of the ocean in complete darkness. This album has so much atmosphere. It takes you down to the depths. It drowns you and it reawakens you as kind of like a ghost as you travel in darkness in the deep, deep ocean. It is such an amazing and an artistically amazing fucking band.
One of the few that really tells a tale. And you know, I came to find out that they do that on every record. Every record has a theme. And this one literally makes you feel like you've been drugged down to the depths of the ocean and you're in this whole new dimension world. And
Absolutely.
It's not pretty, folks.
Yep. It's really creepy and it's scary. It's haunting in a way. And like another thing, that this is definitely death doom / funeral doom, but they don't have orange speaker cabinets and orange heads for this. It's not fuzz at all. This is kind of like in the same types of tones that like death metal or like what Candlemass would have had in the 80s.
Oh, very much so. And that's what made Candlemass so kind of cutting edge.
Yeah. It's so good. That album that is probably the album that I listen to the most because it came out in January. I listen to it today. I listen to that album and it is still afresh in my head. This is an album that, although it's very complex, it's hard to tell one song from the next. It's so atmospheric. But this is one where you can have a melody that will stick with you, maybe for, a few seconds at least.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, excellent choice. My number six is a band that mixes sleep, so you get the fuzz of sleep. You get the catchy, groovy ass riffs, and then you mix it with Tool, the band Tool. To me, that is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. And the name of the album is Petrodragonic Apocalypse. There it is for you right there. Another stunning album. It's not going to pick you up and like speed you through everything. It's kind of a mid-pace to kind of slow album. But I hear Tool and Danny Carey's drumming, although not as complex or as clean or as tasteful as Danny Carey's, they kind of keep the dirt with this. It's still kind of dirty and it fits in with the bass tone and the fuzz guitar tone of it. Every song is memorable, and also they're a bit political and causal. And I fucking like it because they're talking about the end of the world coming up upon us because of us greedy fucks. And anyways,
Not really surprised that that's been the theme of a lot of the more doomish bands. It's not all about weed and seeing space cadets through the skies anymore. No, it's kind of taking a page out of Sabbath's book when they were talking about all that horrible drug abuse and that was going on, Vietnam War, all that stuff. Well, guess what? I mean, it fits. It is right there, and it's very well done.
Hell yeah. So if you're a fan of Tool, and if you're a fan of Sleep, combine those two together. Super tasteful. This album to me is 5 out of 5 stars. It's excellent.
Hell yeah. Now, this next band, I originally was a little apprehensive about even wanting to give them a shot. Because, we have joked on this show so many times about the overuse of the word mammoth, dope, lord, black, magician or wizard, there we go, electric or fuzz or, mushroom. Yeah, very synonymous with like doom metal bands that kind of sort of are on the edge of, stoner metal at the same token. They always call it doom stoner or doomed and stoned. So either way, what I have for you on this one, I was pleasantly surprised. Imagine if Black Sabbath was a full-on satanic band, but played in the lowest freaking tone you could possibly get with just brilliant fuzz, but not overpowering fuzz. That is what really surprises me about this band. Because I was expecting it to be so electric wizardy kind of with the super fuzz. Mm-hmm. It's not there, but it's the less fuzz that they're using that makes their very dark tone in the guitars so powerful. And the opening track on the record, it literally kind of makes you feel like you're a slave in a long line of slaves going into the pits of hell. Like you're being led to the kingdom of fire, and it's beautiful. There is no effects that have been like a lot of times. A lot of these new doom bands are using a whole lot of fucking reverb or some kind of a staticky or lack of a better term. Oh shoot, what do you call it? Distortion. Sorry, couldn't think of it for a second. Sometimes the voice really does kind of come out distorted. This guy's voice is natural as hell with little to no reverb on it. Very Sabbathy sounding, very like first 5 records kind of Sabbath, but he's singing over the lowest, darkest, doomiest riffs that I could ever hear that's fuzzy. And the band I'm talking about is Dope Lord, and the album is called Songs for Satan. And I think this is the right one. Yep, got it. Wow, look at that. Look at that cover. This is not your average doom and stoner band. They're very serious about, beliefs and things. And it's like, I love the little skull drum mallet that the Beastie is about to unleash on the Hell drum. And let me tell you, the drum sound, everything this guy did on this record, I think is brilliant. Less is more. Let those chugga riffs take it. And when it's big open chords, just pow, pow, instead of adding anything else. But man, when the guy goes to do a fill, it's effective and strong. And that's why they grabbed me. So I officially apologize to Dope Lord. I really dig what you're doing.
Hell yeah.
I was surprised because, like
awesome.
I said, when I first saw that name, I was like, this is just another throwback. And I almost wrote him off. I'm glad I didn't.
There's a lot of album covers that will turn me off, but that one makes me like, they look fucking interesting. I want to check that out.
See, that's why I wish we could, play a sample without getting spanked by, the almighty FB. And that's okay. That's all right. But
here
if
we
you
go.
see me this fucking
Fuck you,
excited.
Facebook. Fuck you, Facebook.
But if I'm this excited about a record, it's worth your while to listen to it, because it takes a lot for me to get excited. It really does.
Yeah, these days, like, there are so many bands out there, and there's so much, oh, well, that's good, but there's also so much that are fucking amazing artists. And most
really
of the
stand
world,
out.
most of the world looks at like metalheads as like, oh, they need to take a shower, they need to get a life. These are fucking
We've become the new
amazing
hippies, everybody.
artists. These are amazing fucking artists.
Yeah, they took the
So,
time to really learn their instruments. Everybody in metal, unless you're, Guns N' fucking Roses. I actually heard their latest single now that they've, reformed. It doesn't even have a live drummer playing.
oh my gosh.
It
That's
is
awful. With all the money they have.
It's a hip hop beat.
Oh
Almost
my God.
9 Inch Nails like, with Slash doing his Slash thing over top of it. And Axl's voice just does not sound like it belongs over top of that kind of a beat. And a female singer in the background doing backups. That's not GNR. And I don't even like GNR, but I know what good GNR is.
Well, both of their Use Your Illusion albums, never fucking wanted to buy that. No fucking way. They fucking suck, especially the November Rain song. That got like double birds from me.
Don't ask me why Axl suddenly thought that he was the John Lennon of the 90s. I don't get it.
It's like after Use Your Illusion. Use Your Illusion. No, not that. Appetite for Destruction. It's like
Oh yeah.
somebody
Mhm.
grabbed their nuts and just went and cut them off. They lost any edge that they had.
Cody says he sounds like Casper the Friendly Ghost singing now. You know, I totally I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Oh goodness.
All right, we're on
Definitely.
to my number 5
Hell yeah.
is A Causal Intrusion, and I don't have that album
No.
yet. I so I bought this album on the CD and the vinyl, and it should be in any day. And we had Nick Turner from A Causal Intrusion in on what about a month ago. We did an interview with
Mm-hmm.
him, and he's going to come back on in somewhere between probably 2 weeks and 4 weeks, and we're going to get Nick Turner from A Causal Intrusion and Josh Elmore from Cattle Decapitation together, and we're going to discuss the avant-garde in metal because both of those guys are pioneering guitarists. They're doing things that very few or nobody else does, and they've been really successful with it. So
Absolutely.
Nick Turner is also the founder of Malevolent Sound Records, and he's a really busy guy. He's also in like 4 bands. But his band, A Causal Intrusion, the album is Panpsychism. So it's a very dark looking album. It's all black and gray, and it's got this big kind of these 2 monoliths that come up with a top. It kind of reminds you of Stonehenge, but a really big Stonehenge. It's a very dark album. This is a dissonant album. This is not an album that you can just listen to if you're really trying to get into it. You can't listen to it passively. There's so many changes, so many twists, so many extreme changes in speed, going from slower and then just blast beats, and amazing percussion, amazing guitar playing. And he plays with a Telecaster, and he plays it with the gain all the
Brilliant.
way down on 1. But it's so fucking fast and so nasty. And then he's got a second guitar that he plays that's actually distorted. But this album could have been number 1 for me, but my number 1 through through number 6, all of them could have been album of the year because every one of these bands are so innovative and so unique, and they're doing stuff that nobody else is doing. And A Causal Intrusion out of San Diego area, it's a 2-person group, is no exception. This is a song, it's very, very dark, very, very atmospheric. It uses slow caveman death metal vocals, really slow and like it really sounds like they're in the back of a cave with kind of echoing. It's fucking like that fucking thing is coming for you eventually. And it's like you're in madness, like you're being chased and you don't know where to go, and this thing is it's enveloping you and scaring the shit out of you. It's an amazingly
It's like a
creative
horror movie,
album.
folks.
If you tried to write something in the style like that, my challenge to everybody, if you play guitar or if you're a creative person musically, if you tried to break down how he came up with this fucking album, like I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's a genius piece of work. A
And that's what
Causal
makes it so
Intrusion.
original.
Yep. A Causal Intrusion, Panpsychism. Like I want all of those classical music and jazz lovers to listen to this shit because this blows creatively, and as far as variety going on and being unique, this stuff blows most other music out of the water, in my opinion. And as far as complexity, is outstanding. That's my number 5.
Absolutely. Cheryl, not surprising, but um, a radio DJ friend of mine from Canada kind of got me hip to this band before they got to the point where they're at now, which is definitely a much higher level. It is a female fronted band, death metal band, but it definitely has a much more modern sound to it. It's not very throwbackish. I mean, it pays homage to it, I would say, but definitely fresher. And well, I mean, it's female fronted death metal vocals, and wow, what a voice. Definitely caught my eye a few years back, and they put out a record this year that even Metal Injection had to say was their finest album to date, and I cannot disagree with that. The band's name is Crypta, and they are featuring members of Nervosa, which is a Brazilian band, and a few other. Let me see here real quick. I thought I had it. Nope, it's just literally made of former members of Nervosa. So if you're familiar with that band, you kind of know what you're getting. But this is definitely a little bit more cutting edge for this particular style of death metal. And I need to find the album cover. Can we find it? That's the question.
I saw these guys. They opened up for Morbid Angel the end of April, and the bass player and front woman, the vocalist, is outstanding. Her stage presence is excellent. It's
Very
all
strong.
women. The drummer's a woman. Both guitarists are women, and the bass player is a woman. And they were really, really fun, really fucking metal, just totally genuine, and they seemed like really nice people. And it was a really good show.
And Chuck Schuldiner is most definitely their biggest influence. So
Oh, sure.
when
She
you
sounds a lot
have
like them.
that, you're definitely going to it's going to come out in their music very, very evidently. And that's what I like about it. The vocal performance on this record is fantastic, but at the same token, her bass is so prevalent and upfront, which I, of course, just always gush over because there's such great stuff that comes out of the bass that you can't hear all the time. Yes, the guitar riffs are super important, but damn it, her tasty bass licks are fucking insane. It's just the album's called Shades of Sorrow. If they're not on your radar, you should definitely check this record out.
Yeah, and somebody else, I've watched a couple of other reviews, and there was one that they had Crypta in there, but they said the only thing that I don't like about the album is the bass is a little too prominent. And I disagree. I love it being more prominent.
You see?
I love it. It sounds really good. I want to hear the bass.
I think it makes it even chunkier when they do that.
Yeah.
I urge all bands to try making that bass stand out a little bit more because it makes it fills the sound out more fully. Like you're coming into a bottomless pit.
Yeah, it's like a different spice that's thrown in. And if it's pronounced, you enjoy that spice as well with the other spices or flavors that are in there. And you don't just subdue it and let it be inferior to the others. I agree. It's really good. It's a good album. Not really, groundbreaking, anything new with it.
No,
but I love that you've given them a spotlight for this as well because it's all women. They're 100% legit. Outstanding.
And that stands out to me. Like that was like, yeah, you definitely belong in this realm, and you're writing tasty, delicious shit.
And the front, I'm telling you, if you guys, they're a good show to go see live. The front woman is so theatrical uh, behind, and like she makes all kinds of, gnarly faces while she's singing and stuff, and just the way she moves, she's excellent. Really good choice. All right, my number 4 is an excellent one. And this is one that's on a lot of people's list. It was number 30 fucking 3 on Decibel Magazine's list. That is fucking bullshit. Decibel Magazine, you shat the bed 5 times with that one. How dare you? You should have stopped shatting the first time. Decibel Magazine, I always like Terrorizer's end of the year top 40. Terrorizer was always, to me, a lot more better. It's like Decibel's trying to be California, and we're going to show you just how cool we are and how groundbreaking we are. And we're going to give you guys all kinds of names that you've never heard before, and they're so amazing. They fucking suck. And they gave fucking Cattle Decapitation Terrorcite, they ranked it number fucking 33. This fucking album is amazing. This is like a 4.5 to maybe 5 out of 5 star album. This album is fucking nuts. And I am a huge Cattle Decapitation friend. I'm friends with Josh Elmore. We just chatted today as well, because I encourage them to watch this show. They're probably playing their set right now. Yeah, it's 10:15. They're probably playing their set. No, they're on the East Coast. They're on the West Coast right now. So they're probably getting ready to go on. But this album is excellent. I liked Death Atlas, but this album is even better. And I tend to not care for Travis Ryan's goblin vocals where he's kind of singing. But on this album, they're a little bit more tasty and less annoying or whiny to me. And they also have some songs where they don't have the whining, like We Eat Our Young doesn't have any of the goblin vocals in it. And that's one of the first things when the album hadn't come out yet. I asked Josh that. I said, do we have any more songs? Because We Eat Our Young had already come out. I said, are there any more songs that don't have the goblin vocals? And he said, yes. I said, are there goblin vocals on this album? He goes, yes. But this fucking album is amazing from front to back. The last song is just another body, really fucking good. Scourge of the Offspring, that's the one that has the really good goblin vocals. It's such a catchy and kind of like heartstring pulling song as well. The lyrics are about, we fucked the earth up, and now a half cockroach, half human animal has emerged, and it's like the ultimate parasite on the earth now. Hence the title, the album title being Terrorcite. It's extreme metal.
Made into a horror film. Let's just say that.
Absolutely. Oh, that would be outstanding. Josh, if you listen, every single fucking song has elements of black metal. So if you're into black metal and you've never really heard Cattle Decapitation, but you're like, man, I only listen to black metal, give Cattle Decapitation a try. It's not going to be out in your face or like out in front black metal, but a lot of the things he's doing with chords and with arpeggios, this stuff is definitely from black metal. And he and I talked about that because somebody reviewed the album and they said, I'm not hearing the black metal influence that I normally do. And I told Josh that, and Josh is just like, what? It's in every fucking song. But he didn't say fucking. He said, it's in every song. He's like, what? He's like, and I took over. I said, no, I know. I totally agree. And I started naming off the songs that had like amazing black metal. What the hell are they talking about? It has dissonant metal in it. It has black metal and really kind of groovy, intense black metal or death metal is in there as well. The percussion is fucking nuts throughout it. Just if you haven't got this album yet, everybody's heard about this thing. I think this is probably the album I've heard more people talk about this year out of all of them. It's outstanding.
Oscar says that's a great album. They came to Australia a couple months ago, and all of the shows were full of people. Yeah, because let's face it, atop of the extreme, super intelligent metal is this band. There is no one else out there like them. They've been original since day one. They, I don't know. They're one of those bands that I would say are in a class of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And literally every single member of that band is what makes that magic. Does Travis Ryan's vocals bring it home in the most unholiest of hellish ways? Absolutely. But damn it, if you didn't have one piece of that band, something would be missing, and you'd realize it. So just an amazing band, songwriting, and performance.
Mm-hmm. They're on tour, so if anybody's on the West Coast, I think they're on their West Coast leg. The tour's almost over. If you can catch them, go catch them. It's a great show. Always a great show. Really nice guys too. Terracite, that's my number 4 for
You sure
2000.
we're on 4? Because I only got 2 left.
Yep, I've gone straight down my
10.
list.
I've hit them all. Holy crap. All right. Well, my number 2. Now, I picked, yes, I know. You guys are going to say, Reaper, we know you love Doom. But what I have to say, though, is another great Doom band that released a record this year. And it's actually the first effort that I've heard from them. Highly talked about. It is an occult pagan doom metal band by the name of Green Lung. And they deliver. Now, what makes them stand out outside of the band that I gushed over earlier, which was Dope Lord, is, again, they are just a tad bit fuzzier, which I don't mind. But the lead soloing that is done on, all the little tasty leads that are done throughout these songs, it is very upbeat for Doom. Like they got that traditional spacey, chords with a slower groove. But man, when the shit kicks in, it's like up tempo, almost like down in a way. But still a little bit closer to the sleepish stoner-esque kind of thing. But man, it's just fucking fun. Because I love it dark, but I love it fun too. So I didn't want to just make it all about the darker doom metal bands. These guys were very, very pleasant. Listen, definitely you can tell just from their logo and the way that their album cover is set up. It's very 70s style. That they don't make no bones about that, and I like that. They're not ripping anyone off though. It almost looks like an old 70s textbook. Everything from the little Baphomet up in the corner, like it was like the old school textbooks from, back in the day in high school. And the album is called This Heathen Land, A Journey into Occult Albion, I guess is the way you would say that. Mm-hmm. But very good grooves, strong vocals. Again, not a lot of verb. This is some natural voice shit. And there, you could tell that there is a Sabbath influence there, but not as prevalent as in Dope Lord, which I dig that too. I like doom bands that aren't trying to fucking be Ozzy when Ozzy was 22. The only thing is about Dope Lord, it's got that same feel to it, but he's not trying to be that, which is really cool. But I definitely, if you love good doom metal, this is something you can like put on in the morning as you're going to work and fucking jam. It will get you hyped up a little bit on your way, and that's what's really cool about this band. So
It kind of sounds like you've described the band Sleep, Dope Smoker, but on paganism instead of weed. Because
it's got a
that's
lot of fucking energy.
fun, and I love it. Yeah, see, this is a band I haven't listened to, so
I'd say a
that's
little
one
bit of sword in
I'm
there too.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to listen to that. I love finding out new bands. That's why I like watching these end of the year kind of metal, 10, 15, 20 best of the year things, because I always learn about new bands. Some people, though, are so fucking suspect when they're choosing some fucking shit popular band that they heard on fucking Loudwire or something like that. And
Or they got
Jesus.
handed like how many albums they sold or how many downloads that they had on Spotify for their record. I bet you
Yeah,
that's how they do it. They do it by like data,
yeah, probably.
which is shitty.
All right. My number 3 is Fantifaxa, and it is the name of the album is Hive Mind Narcosis. 5 out of 5 fucking stars, this album, and it made my number 3. How in the hell does a 5 out of 5 star album, in my opinion, make number 3? This album is so fucking unique. It's like very cavernous, atmospheric black metal without anything that's typically black metal. It is so
Right.
unusual. It is so original. The way the guitars are played, the atmosphere, the way the vocals come in, the way they change up things. Hive Mind Narcosis is this easily could have been album of the year, and in some people's, it's definitely in the top 3 quite a bit. It makes a lot of people's list if there's somebody who, if they are people who are committed to extreme metal. There's a lot of people when you watch these end of year reviews, they're not committed to extreme metal. They're only looking at what the big record labels put out, and they're not looking at what the underground. I'm telling you, these guys are out of, I think, Toronto, Canada. Fucking amazing. I can't wait to see these guys sometime. They did do a really small tour. They went out to the West Coast, out into California, and they went up to Seattle. It was like just a very few shows, but I can't wait to see these guys someday. Fantifaxa, Hive Mind Narcosis. This album is stunning. If you want something different that nobody else is doing, this is your fucking album. Plus a couple of others that I have.
Okay. I have come to my number 1 pick, which is, I guess you could say, I wouldn't exactly say it's my album of the year, but I've been telling you about some happy surprises. One thing that I've had a lot of trouble with is finding a black metal band that is new and I really dig what they're doing, kind of thing. I mean, not to say anything bad about the band that you just talked about, because they are different. Their fucking style of black metal is fantastic. I love it so dark that it gives birth to a album cover. Oop, hold on, sorry, computer is having fun with me again. That their album cover ends up looking like this. This is so dark, so ancient like. And when I listened to what is now my favorite song by them currently, Mental Paralysis, it has a sound that is still modern, but yet sounds older, but not like the original first wave, I guess is what you would say, of black metal, where it sounds like it was recorded in a tin can. It's very interesting the way, I mean, they have the great little interludes that are like very spooky, I don't know, horror movie-ish, if you will. I never really thought much of it. I've seen the name many times, but finally I was like, you know what? Let me give this a listen. And I did this about 3 weeks ago. And I love it. I love everything about it. It is called Disharmonium Nahab by Blut aus Nord.
These French black metalists are. This is the part two. This is a two-part album. And basically, I think why you like it so much is you're so much into horror music and how atmospheric this is. And this album, many people have
You
said
know
that
me
this
so
album,
well.
it's like a horror soundtrack. And it really is like a horror soundtrack. It is really innovative. This definitely is not an album that you're going to listen to and be like, and walk down the road and, oh, I know that melody. Boy, that's such a catchy. This is fucking complex. They are painting the world with darkness and stench with this. It's
It's
so
so
thick
good.
with atmosphere. It's really, really good. Blut
You
aus
know, and
Nord.
I love the drum sound. Um, I kind of hate to admit it sometimes, but I do like that Nicholas Barker in the beginning of Cradle of Filth, like that drum sound. And I feel like I'm getting that with what I've heard. And that's just something I really like. The snare, it's very, very prevalent, but it's still not overpowering everything else. And the voice is just low, creepy. I, I don't even know how to quite put it. I don't know. It's different. It's very different from a lot
Yep.
of the black metal singers.
Yep. If you want to venture into something that you have not heard before, this is yet another band. We've already given you guys so many under the radar kind of bands that true metalheads who really scour, and I can't say that I can't say that I scour everything because I just don't have the time. I own a business. My merchandise shits and my merchandise pisses and my merchandise gets sick. And so I work my fucking ass off at my job. And what job is that? What you guys can guess right in the comment section. I don't have time to listen to everything. And I have customers in my store all the time. So I can't listen to what I want to listen to. But
Same.
damn it, I fucking try. And I know Reaper tries. We try to find new stuff for you. But that is artistically innovative, new, different, or they do what they do to fucking perfection. And that's what we've given you with our list. That's a great choice. My number two, we've already discussed, is Ahab, a choral
That's
tune.
why we're off by one. Okay.
And it was so fucking hard for me to come up with, like, to not put this number one, to not put Fantafaxeth number one, to not put A Causal Intrusion number one, King Gizzard Lizard, or King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, to not put them at number one, and to put
Hell
my
yeah.
number one at number one. But once again, I bought it on vinyl. I don't have a whole lot of money, so if I did this, this is a fucking awesome album. Go get this shit. They fucking deserve it. And Ahab, please move your asses from Europe and Germany and get your asses over here so we can worship you. You guys are
That
fucking
would be
amazing.
amazing balls.
These
And
guys,
then let
this
us
is
interview
maybe,
you.
yes, maybe all of the bands that we've put up are excellent artists, but to me, this band stands out as artists because you have clean vocals, cave monster vocals, you have fast music, you have super atmospheric, luscious, beautiful, aquatic music in it. Outstanding. Cannot say enough about this album. Thank you, Ahab. Every album they've ever put out is fucking amazing. This is not as heavy as their earlier stuff from like 2007, but it's fucking heavy. and this is memorable. This is the album I probably listened to the most this year so far because I've had it since January.
Napalm
And
Records said by far that album is their choice of album of the year.
who is that?
Napalm Records,
Oh, cool.
their
Yeah.
own label.
It's outstanding. It's
So
amazing.
if you haven't
All
heard
right.
it yet, folks.
So now we get to my number one.
Whoop, whoop.
And my number one is Mithridatum, and the name of the album is Harrowing. I just found out about this band about 3 weeks ago. And when I heard it, and so these are ex-members of Abhorrent and the Faces. That's Uada.
That's the one you haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah. You put it up in the very beginning accidentally. So Mithridatum, that's it right there. Doesn't that already make you wonder what in the hell is that? So Mithridatum is, if you all know the band The Faceless. The Faithless are a technical death metal band. So you have the vocalist from, they've had many different vocalists over the past 12 years, but this is one of the vocalists, and this is the drummer. He also does bass duties and some guitar work on the album. And then they've got guys from Abhorrent on this. Fucking amazing. Like, I just jaw dropped down to the floor how original these guys are. You have black metal vocals that are a little bit more on the guttural side instead of the high, kind of like Marduk a little bit more, kind of that type of vocals. And this is dissonant, extremely complex. This is not an easy listen. You're not going to be able to just, make your eggs in the morning and listen to this and then whistle at
Maybe
the
you
same
could. You never
time.
know.
Yeah, maybe some people are that talented, but I'm not that talented. These guys are amazing artists. This one is on hardly anyone's radar. When I found out about Mithridatum, it was on one of the reviews for a ranking of albums of the year, and this guy did it before Thanksgiving, and I listened to it, and it was, I think he had it as his number 2 as far as the highest rank goes. He did a tier
Wow.
list, and it is stunning. He had Horrendous as number 1. Horrendous was my number 10. I just found out about them. And
Yep.
I started to listen to it after I watched it's the guy that does the Metal Trenches. And I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he's one of the better ones as far as he's really in tune. Like, he listens to more metal than I do. So he's really in tune with so many. But Mithridatum, Harrowing is such an outstanding album. I will be buying this, and I will be buying this one on vinyl. And so there are 5 albums out of my top 10 that not only I'll buy all of them on CD, but I'm also buying them on vinyl. They are fucking outstanding. Mithridatum is my number 1, and I couldn't believe that I was putting it above Ahab, Fantafaxath, and I thought going into this, like at the early November, that my struggle was going to be between Fantafaxath and Ahab, and then Mithridatum came in, just dissonant. This does not sound like anybody else. Congratulations to A Causal Intrusion. Don't sound like anybody else. Ahab doesn't sound like anybody else. Fantafaxath definitely doesn't sound like anybody else. What do they all have in common? Extremely atmospheric, extremely complex, multiple changes throughout. Like, I will be listening to all of these albums probably for 2 years. This 2023 reminds me of 2011. It had so many amazing albums that came out.
And thanks,
And
Satan,
since
for
then,
that.
yeah.
It's been a
Now,
minute.
there is one band that I want to mention. It's not on my, they are not on my honorable mentions, and they're definitely not on my top 10. And this is some fucking bullshit. And I'm sick of listening to this type of shit come up. And some people get on there and they think they're being all avant-garde. And I'm talking about, I think they're called Dodheimsicle. They're out of Germany. They do really long songs. Some of them, it's more like black metal vocals and then clean vocals. And then they throw in jazz parts
Oh,
and
I've heard about this. Okay.
Dodheimsol, something like that. And so I listen to them, and it's kind of like somebody who's not pregnant, and they think that Tabasco sauce with pickles over chocolate ice cream is a great idea, or maybe tuna and pickles on over chocolate ice cream is a good idea. It fucking doesn't work. And there's so many people thinking, I'm so cool. Yeah, I'm down with this. You know, them throwing the saxophone in there to this extent. And I'm just calling this shit out. This is fucking bullshit. It does not work together. Fuck off. And like you'll see their name if you like watching these, you'll see them here and there. And like if you just break it down technically, it does not work together. They're trying too hard. They're trying to fit an elephant penis into a flea's ass. It doesn't fucking work.
Oh, jeez.
I could have like 15 honorable mentions. There were so many good albums this year.
Absolutely. One that we didn't mention, which I guess would be my honorable mention, is the new Catatonia record.
Yeah, that's a good album.
I felt that it was very strong. It could have made my top 10, but I mean, it's Catatonia. So not too much out of their wheelhouse, nothing too, you know what I mean? It's definitely staying to the formula, but it's damn good Catatonia. Other than that, like, bands that have been out there for a minute, such as Cattle Decapitation, they just keep getting better, but they're also evolving, like they're pushing the limits. Catatonia on this record, it's just good fucking Catatonia. It's kind of what you expect. So that's the only reason why it didn't make my list.
Safe, catchy, memorable is Catatonia, and they are playing Atlanta tomorrow night, and I would love to go see them, but I'm not driving 3.5 hours to see a band that I've already seen before. And they're great live. They're really, really good live. Fucking love them. They sound great. Every instrument sounds outstanding. The vocalist is spot on for everything. Really fun show. I saw them. They opened up for Opeth Blue. This is Opeth without death metal vocals.
Gotcha.
And they blew Opeth out of the water for that show. And I remember reading reviews, and people were posting on YouTube, and this is many years ago, that they were going to see that pairing for that tour, and they were all saying the same thing. And I didn't believe it because I wasn't a big Catatonia fan until I saw them live, and they made me a fucking Catatonia fan.
Absolutely.
So my honorable mentions are Cannibal Corpse, Chaos Horrific, who you've already brought up. Okay. Phaedra. Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Phaedra.
Absolutely. Thank you, Achilles. We appreciate that. We
love
love to
that.
hear feedback from, what's made, your guys' list for the year too. So we will definitely be checking that one out.
Yeah, maybe put in the comments, like, what's unique about them? Why is this such a good album? Because I'd love to read that going into it. My another one of my my honorable mentions is Uwada. They're out of the Seattle, Olympia area, and it's called Crepuscule Natura. And that's an outstanding. You've seen it up here. It's purple. It's got like this hooded dude in like kind of a Buddha meditation Pose. It's an excellent atmospheric black metal. Okay, Achilles, you probably know Uada then.
He
Yeah,
was talking about Phaedra.
yeah. I love atmospheric black metal. So yeah, I'll be checking Phaedra out.
Me too. So I'm gonna have to dig
Gallo,
into that.
Gallo Braid. Let's see who else is on tour coming up soon. Agalok is back. They had broken up and they've reformed. That's another great atmosphere black metal band. Wolves in the Throne Room put out a really good EP this year as well. It's just 4 songs. They're not breaking any new ground, but it's still good, high quality uh, atmospheric black metal. And my other one is Incantation. I actually have 2. Incantation, um, and it is the Unholy Deification. This album right here, Incantation. It's really good. And they actually have tried some different things with this album. They've slowed things down even more at a couple of times. I think the production is better than the previous album. The previous album is really catchy. Every song is really good. Nothing is a sleeper. And I've seen some people give this album bad reviews. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Incantation,
Yeah,
um,
I remember
uh,
discussing that when we reviewed it.
Unholy, yeah, Unholy Deification, really good album as well. And then the one that I had in there, and then I let Horrendous bump it out for in my top 10 is, and I'm wearing the shirt. I saw them at the end of April. I'm talking about Enslaved Heimdall.
Yep, that
Progressive
was on my
black
honorable.
metal, atmospheric at times, a lot of clean stuff. This album is really, really good. Enslaved Heimdall. Really good honorable mention. This is like my favorite show for us to do out of the year. I think anybody who watches this program, you've gotten a lot of 5 out of 5 star albums. You've also been presented with a bunch of at least 4 out of 5 star albums that are outstanding and really, really good for the year. And
Absolutely.
there's a bunch of other ones. Nothingness. I could name so many bands who've put
Yeah,
out
it's
really
difficult.
good albums. This year, it's like people were bathing in kind of what do they call it? When you put a sauce over marinating over during our COVID experience, and just kind of playing and reinventing themselves, spending time with themselves, kind of figuring out who they are as musicians and where they want to go with their stuff. And look at this. Like I guess that's my theory of the day. So many groundbreaking sounds that we've heard. A Causal Intrusion, Fantafaxath, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, which is a mix between Tool and like Sleep, in my opinion. Um,
Church of Misery had a
Mithridatum,
really good record this year
Ahab.
too.
Oh yeah. But there's so many that we just can't talk about. We just don't have the time. There's so many good artists. And then there's a lot of flat artists out there that are doing nothing different. They're not trying to be innovative out there, and just there's too many. They're like flooding the market and kind of um, preventing us, concealing us from seeing the better metal that's out there, the more innovative that's out
Well,
there.
in some cases, though, when they do start that oversaturation, especially like me, I feel like it pushes me to go, okay, there's too much of this. Let me step out,
Yeah.
type in a different, genre into Google and see what the fuck pops up, or even on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, there's a great site for that. 666 Mr. Doom puts up a hellacious amount of new albums that come out. Not only Doom, but black metal, death metal, and there's a pretty good mix on there. So a lot of times I'll run over there and see what he's put up for the day, and
Hmm.
he'll have like 12 new fucking bands I ain't even heard of. So I just kind of like give it a listen here and there. Sometimes Spotify will suggest a band to me that comes out of
Hmm.
fucking nowhere from a middle of nowhere country, and it
Hmm.
ends up being like fucking amazing. So, sometimes that's what we have to do as listeners. And hopefully, if there's some bands on here that you heard from our list tonight, that will inspire you to go check them out. You never know. You just might become a fan. So
I'm low on whiskey. I need to go upstairs and get more whiskey. It's time to go.
Thank you all so much out there in Morgrot land. We appreciate you guys so much. We were happy that you could come and hang out with us tonight. And like I said, hopefully you learned some things. You found some new bands. And sorry, to try to put both my list and Hoof Beasts all in the comments would take my hands fucking forever to put in the comments. So this is what I urge you to do. If you joined us late and you want to know what our other picks were, automatically, as soon as we're off, it's there. Go back, watch it from the beginning so that you can get caught up on our top metal albums of 2023. We appreciate
I will
you
copy
guys.
and I'll copy and paste mine in there in the comments so everybody can see them on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, that is true. I could do that after the fact.
Fuck Facebook. So I'm not doing shit for Facebook.
Exactly, because they won't let us play you some snippets of this fucking badassery that we have given you tonight. That's for sure. So as you're getting ready for the unholy bullshit holiday that's in 2 weeks, keep in mind to go listen or buy something new that possibly we've, inspired you to get, or just to step out of what your usual box is of listening to stuff and try some newer stuff in those genres. You are going to find some artists that are just going to be like, where did you come from? Where have you been all my life? So check out new shit all the time. Challenge yourself, challenge your friends, stay the fuck metal, but most importantly, always stay heavy. Possibly.
All residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats